Let's continue with that discussion with the global knife and the 15-degree edge and a convex bevel. For Bryce's question on global knives. First of all, I want to say something that a global knife, in my opinion, is a nice entry level. How can I say it? It's the beginning of good knives. Knives start, good knives, in my opinion, start with knives like a Global or a Wusthof or a Hofritz. When you look up a knife set on Amazon or something like that, when you find something that's a pretty good set around the $400 or $500 range and comes with a handful of knives, that's an inexpensive knife set. The Global is a Japanese contemporary styled knife. It has an aluminum handle with an ergonomic grip. The handle's a little different than something that's more standard Western handle like a Wusthof or a Heinkel. A lot of these knives now, they're all these entry level knives like the Wusthof Classic or the Hofritz. Those are all under like 58 in hardness. They will all have that similar rolled edge characteristics. They're all advertised from the maker, not they're all, I don't mean to be so definite about it, but in general, my observation is they're 14-degree bevel to 15-degree bevel. That 15-degree is like that magic number that waves a wand, that a 15-degree is a really narrow edge. Like we spoke about hardness before, I said it runs from like 56 to 65, that's the range. Edge bevels on knives that we sharpen, whether it's a pocket knife, a folding knife, or a kitchen knife, for the most part, we use bevels that range from 14 degrees on the minimum up to maybe 20 or 25 degrees. A 25 degree is a wide knife, and that ends up like a bush knife or something like that, a camp style knife, where you want that weight behind the edge, like a Bowie knife. So it's not a lot of range, just like hardness is not a lot of range from 56 to like 65, 67, 68. Angles on knives for the most part are usually only seen and only applied from say 14 to 25. So it's a small range. Like hardness, the difference in hardness is felt from 56 to 58, and you can feel it 58 to 60. Already when you get to like a shun knife that claims to be VG Max, which is 61 hardness, that's noticeably hard, and that's where you start to see the roll become the chip in the edge damage. All this stuff you'll see with experience with sharpening if you take the time to look at what you're working with. It's an experiential thing, and you got to want to do it. You got to want to be into it. Not all of us are into it. Some are just a clamp and go, want to set the device at 20 degrees, slap on the edge and be done, and that's fine. I want to talk to all of us, anybody that wants to go from the quick applied edge and get into the science of it. I'm game to talk to all of them. Now, when we talk about a convex edge, let me make this clear. This device can put on a convex edge. It is made to allow us to put precise V bevels at an angle of our desire, our setting, using the wicked edge. We can put a straight V bevel, which is what most knives come with from the maker. If we choose to change the adjustments, the angle settings, and while we're sharpening that bevel, if we change those angle settings, we are changing the curve of the bevel. And that's what a convex edge is we make the angle as we sharpen from the tip down the V's, we make that angle more acute. A convex edge is curved within the V. The V knife is straight, the convex is curved. It is narrower, but it is curved. This is accentuated, but it's curved, so in essence it has more steel behind the edge that is straight. Because it's curved, it has more steel, and the thinking is more steel at the same 15-degree angle with the wider steel. That gives more physical support, and thus that edge should not roll. And that makes perfect physical sense to me. I would think that that would be the case. If your friend Bryce wants to sharpen that knife with a convex edge, it'll probably physically stand up better. But it's still a 56 to 58 hardness knife, and it's still going to roll. It only has a certain structural tensile strength behind the steel and the hardness, and that's what it's going to do. It's going to roll. You're not going to take a soft knife and use it and not have it wear, and the way that that knife steel wears is it rolls. I hope that I was able to answer your question about convex edge. I'm going to say one more thing about convex edge is what we are doing in essence with a convex edge is instead of making the V, we're making an angle, we're changing the angle, we're changing the angle, we're changing the angle, and when we change these angles, it's eventually going to round out. It is a stepwise adjustment, and we're making facets on the edge. We're making facets, and then we're going to go back and smooth it out to make it rounded, and it's still going to have that tip on it at the same angle that you start with. It's a long blended process. It takes a lot of adjustments. The Gen 4 Pro makes it easier to do because of its adjustability, but it's still a sharpening strategy that is an advanced technique, and it does take time, and it does take practice, and it does take attention to detail. I hope that I gave you a little insight into it, and I hope that I tried to answer Bryce's question, and we'll be back later. Thanks.